Now it's time for Farmland News with Fladeboe Land.
Time now for Ask the Expert here on KWLM. I'm your host this morning, Eric Grieger, and joining me today, I'm happy to say that we have Glen Fladeboe from Fladeboe Land. Glen, welcome to the show. It's always great to have you here.
Good, yeah. It's great to be with you this morning. Beautiful early November morning.
Yeah, beautiful. Some cooler weather headed our way, but I guess that's just the way things go.
Yeah, no, exactly. Believe it or not, we're busy right now, this stretch of time. Historically, you're always, in the land business, you're always really busy in November because, harvest is over. People are choosing to sell, after harvest and before the next planting year. But I have kind of a fun weekend now. We've got an auction today, and I'll talk more about that in a second. It's just a stunning property. But on Sunday, I'm actually going to do some deer hunting up on a farm that my mom's home farm up in Chippewa County, of course, up by Sunburg. So
exciting.
I'm working and going to have a little bit of fun this weekend as well.
Sure. Well, that sounds good. Hopefully you have some good luck.
It'll be great. My nephews are coming down. My dad, turns 83 in a couple of weeks, and he's all fired up about it. He's been sighting in his gun. And, it's so funny. Our family started this business in 1978. The farm that my folks live on is just north of Omer. And my sister, Christine's owed their farm last night, and we're selling this Christianson farm, a beautiful farm in Polk County today. And my dad's not only sighting in his gun, he's giving Christine a bunch of advice and ideas regarding the Christianson auction today. He's all fired up because he loves his Christianson family. And it's fun. I feel thankful that my folks are still here, and they're with it, and very passionate, but then he'll be excited to go deer hunting, and every day is a blessing.
Right. Well, he's multitasking today. That's good.
Yeah.
Well, Glen, let's talk a little bit about kind of what does late fall and early winter look like for you in terms of these land sales?
Well, we're very busy. The public auctions and the public listings that you look at on our website or read in the paper, is about half of our business. So we're selling a half a dozen farms publicly in the next 6 weeks. We've sold a number of farms in the last 2 months publicly as well. But then, privately, we're hired by families all the time to represent them in pricing a farm and then negotiating with their tenants or selling it to their cousin. A lot of families want somebody to represent them because, number one, they don't know what it's really worth. They need an honest professional opinion and analysis of that. They also want somebody else to negotiate that sale. And what we do is if we don't come to an agreement with a family member or a tenant, then, it is usually marketed publicly. But like today, I think of this auction today, and honestly, to our listeners out there, if you're looking for a piece of land, like a recreational piece of land and a beautiful piece of tillable land, go to fladeboeland.com and look at the Omer and Pearl Christianson auction. That closes at 2 o'clock today. Like if somebody wanted to go out there and see the property this morning, certainly call me. My number's on our website, and you'd be welcome to look at it. But, I think of my life and my career, and I can honestly tell you this, it's interesting, Eric. If somebody said, Glenn, you could be in Hawaii today at a 5-star resort, or you could be selling the Omer and Pearl Christianson farm in Polk County, what would you do? I would choose, in a heartbeat, selling the Omer and Pearl Christianson farm.
That's great.
Like, on every level. Like, super cool land, like the stunning building site. The Tillable is a really interesting, nice piece of tillable ground. And, what happens for us is not only, I'm a person that loves real estate, and I love farmland, and, this is how I grew up, of course. But you also really, a lot of times, you fall in love with these families. Like, the Christianson, there's 3 kids, Judy and Cindy and Kevin. They've been super honoring of their parents. They've talked about the great memories on the farm. They love the land. But there's just a point at which you can't own it forever. And, it's these historical transactions that I feel blessed that I've had an opportunity, and my sister too, and my parents, to work in a business it's pretty historic when you look at it. And, for the person that buys that farm today, for the next 50 years, they'll look back and say, "God, that was a good decision to buy the Christianson farm,"
Well, Glen, let's dive a little bit into the market itself. 2024 and 25, they've been interesting years, right? Inflation, interest rates going up, commodity prices, input costs, a lot of it plays a factor. What are you seeing right now in terms of land prices and buyer activity?
Well, I mean, I think number one, yes, we've dealt with headwinds because of the corn and soybean market, of course. And, obviously China not buying soybeans. And, we've made some positive developments in the last 10 days with, international trade. I think that's helped a little bit. And every market, of course, has its cycle. And there's no doubt that, the corn and soybean market, selling tillable farmland is easier when corn's at $7 a bushel than $3.30 or $3.50. But, if you honestly just said, Glenn, I mean, looking at your career and looking at this moment of time, what have you really figured out or come to greatly understand about real estate? It's that, I mean, like this Christianson farm today, that you either take a shot at buying it or you likely will never have a chance to buy it in your life. You know what I mean? So even if the corn and soybean market goes down, and it will go down, then it'll go up. But this is, selling real estate, we're not as susceptible to the market factors in this business as, like stocks and other things because, there's only so much of it. And really, it's really difficult to find a piece of land to buy publicly. So what I'm getting to is that the market has stayed stronger than what most people expect and even most farmland professionals would expect given the commodity prices. Obviously a challenging year for the sugar beet guys. But at the end of the day, like I think of, the farms that we're selling next week, this Denbrook farm in Chippewa County, super nice piece of land. It's an 80. It's affordable because the purchase price is not going to be, $3 million on that. And, it's kind of it's a once in a decade opportunity when something comes close to you in your township. And so that's really the driving factor that keeps the floor in the real estate values.
Right.
But I will also say, I mean, for many of our families that are, either in retirement or close to retirement, farmland generally will produce a 2.5% rate of return, or maybe brushing on a 3% rate of return. But it's attractive to put funds in a money market or a bond or something that's going to give you a 4.25% return. And so, I certainly recognize that families that choose to sell, there's a point that you need to turn the page and you can't own it in perpetuity forever. But, the market is stronger than I'd expect given the commodity prices, but there's also evidence that the market has softened just based on the commodity prices.
Right. Glenn, a lot of these sales happen when families decide it's time to transition or settle an estate. For those families, what advice would you give them before moving forward to selling farmland?
The number one thing that I would say, whether it's our firm or a different firm, is get professional counsel. I mean, it is really the most critical thing. It's like I could tell you, literally in the last 3 months, I could tell you 5 stories of families that, thought that their farm may be worth X, but their farm is worth X times, 25%. So number one, you've got to know what something is worth. You really have to know. Number two, I mean, I look at this Christianson farm today, and, timing is everything in life. It really is. I mean, in this farm today, selling that in early November, it looks beautiful. The woods is amazing. You also, want some professional counsel on when you sell something. I mean, selling something in Minnesota in early March when, the snow's on the ground and it's muddy. Right. And so I think the number one advice that we give to families is choose and get professional counsel, whether that's us or somebody else. Because this isn't like selling a used car. I mean, when you're selling a piece of land that's worth $1 million or $2 million, you can't redo it. And so, number one, I think consult with a professional. Number two, be really, really thoughtful. Number three, for families that deal with politics and, internal challenges, every family, of course, doesn't always get along perfectly. We really counsel those families to focus on the big picture and not let, some of the past grievances get you down. Let's focus on the big picture. Let's get the best possible price in an honoring way. And, a lot of our business is not just selling land. It's kind of guiding families in the core decisions, both internal family politics and then the sales process to get them the best results.
Great advice. Well, you mentioned several upcoming auctions. Maybe this is a great time to preview some of them, kind of what you guys have coming up.
Yeah, like I said, take a look at the Christianson auction on our website. Beautiful property today that we're selling. Next Monday, we're in Chippewa County selling this Denbrook 80. It's a beautiful piece of ground. It has a 92 CPI. The crop production index is great. Lays very, very nice. Next Thursday, a very interesting farm that we're selling for Doctors Lee and Susan Cafferty. Many of our listeners in the Omer area will know that name. You know, Dr. Cafferty was a longtime member of the, Rice Care, Central Care Facility. A great guy. Matter of fact, Doctors Lee and Susan moved down to Arkansas, and so they decided to sell a farm that they owned out in Stevens County. That is in Everglade Township. It's just northwest of Chicago. It's pattern tiled, a 90 CPI, very, very strong soils. They pattern tiled it 2 years ago. We've got another piece of ground coming for sale later in in Stevens County, in the township to the north of this. But I think in the next just 2 weeks, the key things to look at would be the Christianson today, Denbrook on Monday, the Cafferty Farm on Thursday. We're selling a really nice farm in Jackson County, Minnesota in December. And, a lot of this, too, is not just farmers looking to add on to their portfolio, but also people looking to do a 1031 exchange, which is, maybe they sell an apartment or a duplex that they own and want to defer the capital gains by purchasing another piece of real estate. And all of those options would be great. We've got a number of other projects that will be on our website soon. But, yeah, please feel free to reach out to us with any questions.
Yeah. Best advice would be to check that website, right?
Check the web. We're going to sell you a farm today, Eric.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You're going to get off the radio. You're going to go up and walk the Christiansons, and you're going to have time to visit until 2 o'clock.
Sounds good to me. Well, before we wrap up, some of your advice as we head into 2026, what's your outlook? What do you think land price is going to do? Hold steady, rise further, or soften somewhat?
I think that we are going to see marginal land, lower quality land is going to see a declining value if there's drainage challenges or soil challenges, a somewhat declining value. I think strong pieces that are of the right size are going to hold strong. And I think there's also going to be a number of people that are looking at, is this kind of the last opportunity to have a great, lock in a CD if interest rates go down. So I think a lot of sellers will be motivated by locking in some sort of other investment option. But at the end of the day, I think that the market's going to stay relatively stable. I mean, I'm not seeing a major correction because this is emotional. I mean, a lot of people, I could tell you very successful Minnesotans, if they had a week to live, they'd spend 5 days thinking about the next farm to buy.
Yeah, all right. Well, always great to have you joining us this morning. You guys do such a great job bringing all this valuable insight to us. If folks want to check out more about upcoming auctions, learn more, or speak with you, how can they do that?
Sure. Go to FladeboeLand.com to look at our website. There's videos and drone videos. I got a video on the Christianson Farm there. They can certainly call me directly at 651-208-3262. My sister Christine, 320-212-9379. But yeah, please reach out. Feel free to email us. And even if you're looking for advice but not looking to hire somebody, we're happy to be helpful and certainly do that daily with folks that reach out.
Sure. Glenn, thank you so much. Best of luck on your deer hunt.
Thanks. I'll let you know how it goes.
All right. Thank you so much. Glen Fladeboe with Fladeboe Land. He was today's Ask the Expert guest with Fladeboe Land right here on KWLM.